right, good morning. Thank you for being here. We are going to go ahead and get started with the Tourism Development Commission regular meeting. And if we can start with roll call, please.
Chairperson Marnier?
Here.
Vice Chair Montgomery?
Here.
Commissioner Alspaugh?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Commissioner Solvay? Commissioner Marion? And Commissioner Morales?
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go ahead and start with the approval of minutes from our last meeting. Is there any discussion? Also, an action to approve those minutes from February 18th is being asked.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll go ahead and start with our first presentation. We have a staff presentation and commission discussion regarding tourism and events, Scottsdale and Western Week events. The presentation will be done by Angelica Capullo. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm Angelica Capullo with the Tourism and Events Division, and I'm here to recap our Scottsdale and Western Week events. Before jumping into those, though, we thought this was a nice opportunity to share with you an update on our Old Town website refresh. So I just quickly wanted to mention this project that's been going on for a few months now and is coming to fruition. As you might already be familiar with, the current website is over 7 years old, and the back end is really cumbersome in terms of making updates, and this was the reason for the refresh. So this will take place incorporating some of our new branding. It will have some new features like a blog, which the merchants are actually very excited about if you have approached me already about getting involved with. It will have a social media feed. It will also be able to have some unique features that we don't currently have. For instance, the directory will be, you can organize it by district. So if you're at a gallery in the Arts District and you want to go out to dinner, you can search for restaurants specifically in that district. So we have some nice features that'll be added. So just wanted to briefly mention that. I will also stress, though, the website's intent will continue as the current one to drive traffic to our merchants, drive attendance at our events, and really position Old Town, in the spotlight for residents and tourists. So it will just have a slightly different look and very enhanced functionality. So with that, let's move on to what we're here to talk about today, Scottsdale and Western Week. I'll start with a quick video just to take a trip down memory lane of the tree lighting and kickoff ceremony. Just a little refresh for our memories. It seems like so long ago now. Scottsdale allows us the opportunity to showcase the districts in their unique ways. We'll start off by looking at some of the decor that was utilized this year. One of the nice things, it really allows us to tap into our tourism and event strategic plan. We can hit on initiatives like the Park and Walk experience and also strengthening the positioning of the Old Town districts. The unique decor is curated for each of the districts. For example, along Fifth Avenue, we've continued with the theme of having little elves in the planters and the monument signs. These elves are playful, sometimes mischievous. They allow for photo ops and also a fun and playful mood for the visitors. While in the Arts District, we have extremely elegant lighting and a really classy look. And the entrance to the Civic Center displays a family-friendly photo op. The waterfront was once again transformed into an enchanted winter village. From head to toe, we had beautiful decor. The canal banks were lined with different types of decorations and features. For the first time in the canal itself, there were 3 floating trees, and we had some new enhancements like the mystical horse and angel. The entertainment district also played a big role this year. It was coined Peppermint Plaza. And the decor featured balloons, a trussing with an overarching street banner. There were poles wrapping garland, and there was several activations that went along with that I'll go into further details shortly. I really wanted to share this map that was utilized as part of our printed map that was handed out to visitors and also on the website. And what's nice about it is it again points out how spread out the events are. So we're able to take the visitors not just to one location within Old Town, but through several of the districts and several locations. So by being able to spread out the events, we can offer programs for different audiences, different age groups, different interests, and really get them exploring all of Old Town. So now let's take a closer look at some of the events that I've referred to. The events provide an opportunity to attract new visitors, promote the local merchants, deepen community spirit, and really shine a spotlight on Old Town with residents, tourists, and the media. As you can see here, the Tourism and Events Division partnered with various internal and external groups, with programming that took place both in public spaces and inside merchant locations. In addition to our annual favorites like the Scottsdale Stroll, there were also several new events, and I'll go into some of these as I move along in the presentation. This year, we were able to collaborate with 10 different partners. These included Blue Zones, Scottsdale Artist School, the Scottsdale Gallery Association, Barrio Queen, The Mission, the Mercantile Market, Riot Hospitality, EEG, the Farmers Market, Hotel Valley Ho, Light and Bark Candle Go, the Chabad of South Scottsdale, the Valley of the Sun Jewish Community Center, and Grease Paint. In addition, we worked with internal city departments such as the Police Department, Economic Development, City Services, Park and Recreations, and the Library. Plus, I'd also like to note, in addition to these events that the city puts on, Old Town businesses are able to submit their own event. So for example, if they're hosting a book club or a wine tasting or a special sale for the holidays, they can publish those for free on the Scottsdale website. And one last note I'd like to make in terms of the different collaborations we were able to do. We hosted Shop Scottsdale with Economic Development, and with that, we were able to offer on one day, the Shop Saturday day, a gift with purchase and also complimentary gift wrap. And this was for people who purchase things anywhere in Old Town. So again, being able to spread that throughout all of the Old Town area. So here's a couple of photos from Scottsdale. It was really hard to pick out which ones to use in the presentation. And I think what's nice about them is they each tell a different story. And we'll go into some of the numbers and our outreach, but what we see here are people really enjoying the activities, families creating traditions, couples making memories, and that's really within tourism events. What we're trying to do is reach into their memory banks, connect with them, and this way when they're talking to their friends and family about Scottsdale, they're doing so in a positive and memorable way that really is touching their hearts. So let's go into some of the events now, and while I'd like to go over all of them, I am conscious of your time, so I will just mention some of the newer programs. I had touched a little bit on Peppermint Plaza and our cooperation with the Entertainment District. So in addition to the decor that was created, we worked specifically with 9 of the establishments to create a program. These establishments include Casa Amigos, Bottle Blonde, Riot House, Maya, Hi-Fi, El Jefe, Dirk Bentley's Whiskey Row, Mother Tucker's, and Cake. So in addition to the decor, we featured a month-long sweepstakes, and people were able to enter digitally. They could answer fun holiday trivia, and then they were entered to win 4 $50 gift cards that were complimentary from Riot Hospitality and EEG. We had 221 entries for this social media contest. Also, on one special evening, there was a street activation program where we had street performers, and the establishments that I mentioned all offered drink promotions on that evening. The drinks that they offered were also offered all month long. However, on that one night, they had special discounts for their guests. Other new events included partnering with the Scottsdale Artist School. So on the Marshall Way Bridge, we created a beautiful event. There was live music, there was some performers, there was an artist doing a painting there on the bridge, And what was really nice is people could come at their leisure, sit down, create their own ornament, and the artists and the teachers were there giving them examples, templates, kind of guiding them through it. So we had over 300 people at that event create ornaments. And we really saw all age groups, all different people come and enjoy this special moment. We also partnered this year with Barrio Queen. That was a new event. This event sold out only a few days after being advertised. I think really having the food connection was extremely popular. Barrio Queen came with their chef. They did a fantastic presentation up on the stage, and everyone there was able to create their own tamales, enjoy them. They also had some entertainment there. And it was great for them because, as you know, they're right around the street there. So they were able to also send people there on that day. So that was a huge success for them. A few of the other new events that I'd like to mention is we expanded our Hanukkah programming. So we once again worked with the Chabad of South Scottsdale, and they actually came in a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, and he was really pleased with the program. So looking forward to continuing that. But for the first time this year, we also added an event with the Valley of the Sun Jewish Community Center and invested in purchasing a 9-foot menorah that can be used for future programs so that we can continue to expand on this part of the celebration. A few highlights in terms of attendance, very similar to numbers that we've received in the past. We have about 4,000 people attend the sing-along and tree lighting, and about 10,000 over the 3 weeks of the Scottsdale strolls. There were 300 photos taken with Santa at the farmer's market, about 200 people at the Starlight Movie Night, and then our smaller events that are intended to be more intimate have between about 20 and 60 guests, some of which did sell out quickly, like the Jolly Tamale that I mentioned earlier. So, how do people find out about Scottsdale? It is absolutely building a brand. It has a name within the city. We're at 9 years now, which is incredible. So people are familiar with Scottsdale, but there's a lot of competition around the holidays. Need to let them know it's happening, make sure they come out. So Scottsdale is publicized via a local integrated marketing campaign. Our division primarily targets Valley residents within a 20-mile radius. You'll see here the woman on the gift box. That was the signature image that was used throughout the campaign this year. And then many of the events have dedicated advertising creative specifically for them. The creative was used throughout billboards, throughout print advertisements. We had a great deal of press that was extremely helpful, digital advertising. We collaborated with other city departments so that we could have our brochures and posters put in areas such as the library, community centers, a great deal of social media and digital outreach as well. So I just wanted to play a quick video that is used as one of our digital ads. And then here's a quick snapshot of some of our impressions that lead to driving the attendance to the events. And I really cannot speak to the marketing and advertising without mentioning Experience Scottsdale, who's with us here today, and I know you're all very familiar with. But while our division manages the local advertising, Experience Scottsdale is always out there on our behalf, nationally and internationally. You can see here a snapshot of the work that they did featuring Scottsdale. And after the presentation, if you have any questions related to Experience Scottsdale, I know Michelle Myers, Vice President of Marketing, would be happy to come up and answer any of those questions. But I really couldn't put in information about the advertising of Scottsdale without mentioning our partners at Experience Scottsdale. And while I think it's great to share all of our numbers, it's also nice to see some of the anecdotal feedback. So you can see here some screenshots of social media. I don't know if you can read them. Apologize if it's a little bit small. But you can also see at the top is a quote from the owner of the Mercantile Market. That was used in our press release and really shows the nice connection between the city and one of our merchants and the success that is created through partnerships like Scottsdale. So with that, I am going to close out the Scottsdale section. We'll switch to Western Week, but did want to mention that this is, as I said, the 9th year, so our 10th year is coming up next year. I think we're all very excited about that. We begin planning in the summer, really, so if you have any feedback we can go over after or throughout the year. We're always looking for ways to improve, enhance the community spirit, the collaboration with our merchants, and really the success of Scottsdale. So, we'll now switch over to Western Week. And Western Week took place from January 25th to February 2nd, 2025, so it kicked off our year. Some of our signature events that we see annually included the Gold Palette Art Walk, the Pony Express, the 2-day Arizona Indian Festival, and the 71st Prada del Sol and Trails End Festival. As in past years, these signature events saw an excellent turnout, with results similar. We had about 30,000 events attended throughout the week. I'd also like to then share some of the highlights to the events throughout the week. This year's Pony Express was hosted by Scottsdale's History Hall of Fame inductee, Downtown Denny Brown. And with the theme of Women in the West, we had Mayor Borowski speak. It was the first time female riders participated in the Pony Express, and a proclamation was presented to Governor Hobbs for her notable service from the Navajo County Sheriff's Office. Also at the Pony Express, we really expanded our offering to the public. We had an interactive experience that they could do with Scottsdale Artist School by creating Postcard Express. There were also more photo opportunities this year for people to take with the horses there. So we really tried to expand the program. There are several partners that we collaborated with during the during the Western Week. The Rodeo Museum helped kick things off on Saturday, January 25th, so that's at the first part of Western Week. They had roping demonstrations, an outdoor beer garden, really a big celebration within the Rodeo Museum. And right next to them, at the Old Town Scottsdale Farmers Market, on the first weekend, they had live Western music, and on the second weekend, they encouraged their vendors to dress up and decorate their booths, so really creating that community spirit that we see again. Western Spirit, Scottsdale's Museum of the West, played a critical role in helping ensure that the Western theme was maintained throughout the entire week. They partnered with the city and offered 9 musicals in their theater and 2 educational seminars, giving people an option for things to do on maybe a Monday or Tuesday when there's not the signature events taking place. They also had free entry for Scottsdale residents to the museum on Thursday night and free entry on Friday and Saturday for everyone. Oops, sorry, went too far. Following the success of last year, Tourism and Events extended the week by programming an event on Saturday, January 25th, so again to kick things off. This took place on the Marshall Way Bridge. We partnered with 2 merchants. One was the locally owned Fry Bread Lounge, and they created a fry bread class where people were able to make their own fry bread. The other one was with Mavericks of Scottsdale, which is one of our local businesses, and they hosted a custom pop-up hat bar on the bridge. Also during that day, we had live Western music, free line dancing lessons, and some entertainers such as Dusty, or the singing cowboy and his trusty horse Dusty, and Lasso Steve. At the Trails End Festival this year, the Tourism and Events Division had a community art project that participants could take part in. We also had on the Sunday, January 26th, a cowgirl balloon artist and Lasso Steve. So again, really trying to interweave things throughout the entire week to make it a full Western week, in addition to our fantastic signature events that take place every year. So we can take a look again. This might look a little bit similar to Scottsdale. It's definitely a shorter time period because we're promoting 1 week versus the 5 weeks that take place over Scottsdale. But again, we see some similar tactics being used. We're focusing on print ads locally. We had an ad in the digital free press this time. We had targeted ads on Facebook, Instagram, Google, the Old Town website, of course, and again, working with our city departments, and also a great deal of press outreach. There were many ads that were general, but then also some that promoted those individual events again, like the Prada del Sol, the Gold Palette Art Walk, so focusing on some of these signature programs. We take a look here at the impressions. Again, these are going to be different than Scottsdale because they are just 1 week, but we're looking at some similar statistics that we've received in the past. Our website was really, really strong this time for Western Week. And then again, I'll play a quick video. You might have seen this before. We've used it for a couple years now to help promote Western Week. And this is something you might see if you're looking on Google or Facebook. These are the types of ads that would appear. And then again, have to give thanks and show aside for Experience Scottsdale because once again, they are marketing Western Week as one of the signature items that they are speaking about nationally, internationally. Here are some of the statistics, some of the outreach that they did, and I also thought we could quickly listen to a podcast with Conan O'Brien.
This winter, swap your snow boots for flip-flops and head to Scottsdale, Arizona. That's right, January through March is the time to visit some of the city's most exciting events of the year. Kick off Scottsdale's signature event season with January's Barrett-Jackson Auto Auction, or Scottsdale's Western Week, an annual celebration of Scottsdale's cowboy culture. This sounds like fun. February is packed with can't-miss events, too. Golf fans, you've got the PGA Tours, WM Phoenix Open, a.k.a. the greatest show on grass. Hey, you like baseball? Grab a seat at the MLB Cactus League spring training game. And for a really unique experience, you can take in the Scottsdale Arabian Horse Show. My God, I've got to see that. The largest Arabian horse competition on the planet. I've been to some Arabian competitions.
Yeah.
Horse competitions, this is the one.
Yeah, you went to little ones.
I went to tiny little ones with
Yeah.
tiny little Arabian horses. These are the real ones. Don't miss out on Scottsdale's year-round attractions. Old Town Scottsdale's boutiques, art galleries, world-class dining. There's always endless outdoor adventures to choose from, like hiking, mountain biking, or just splashing around in a resort pool. When I get in a pool, I just splash around. Everyone's embarrassed. Visit ExperienceScottsdale.com and start planning your trip. That's ExperienceScottsdale.com.
Okay, well, he's a tough act to follow, so I'm going to close things out. I do want to say thank you for having me, and while I'm here to present these fantastic programs, this is such a big collaboration, both Scottsdale and Western Week. There are so many external partners we work with. Entertainment Solutions is here in the audience. We have advertising agencies, PR agencies, Experience Scottsdale, whom I mentioned. There's also so many city departments that we work with. We receive support from communications, economic development. We partnered with Parks and Recreation. There's teams like facilities and solid wastes and street operations that do a lot of the heavy lifting, a lot of the behind-the-scene work. There's Eric Ibsen's team who ensures that all the streets remain beautiful, that the trees are trimmed, the trash is empty. So many details that go into Scottsdale and Western Week. We also have fantastic volunteers, such as the Old Town Ambassadors. They work the events. They help share the information about the events. This year, we were able to work with Paiute Neighborhood Center. They also volunteered at the farmers market and created some of the centerpieces at our events. So it's almost difficult to do thank yous because there's so many people involved. I don't want to forget anyone, but it's important to stress that it's definitely a collaboration and a community program, and we have so much support from our stellar internal and external partners. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about either of the programs.
Angelica, thank you so much. Both amazing events, and thank you to everyone who participates. And like you said, I love that you thanked people that you don't always get to see that make it so possible for our city to just shine. These are really, really cool events, and I'd like to open it up to our commissioners for any comments, questions, compliments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a couple of comments. The Old Town website, when does that go live, Angelica?
So we're going to start testing it shortly. It'll be, I would say, I want to estimate 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, sounds great. And just to echo what Anna said, just an amazing couple of events and what the heavy lifting that the city does, and with all the services that impact those events and all the volunteers and all the people. It's just amazing. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Any other comments? No? Thank you so much for
Thank you so
everything.
much.
Thank you. All right. Up next, we have our fiscal year 2025-2026 city event funding programs. It's a commission update, discussion, and possible recommendation. And we're going to hear from Steve Gigamo.
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioners, it's that time of year again when we begin our evaluation of the upcoming fiscal year in our 4 programs: the Matching Event Advertising Fund Program, Community Event, Event Venue, and Event Development Program. You may recall a couple years ago we had a pretty extensive work study where we went into it. So this is just part of our process. We want to hear from you today about anything particular you want us to evaluate or bring to the program. In your packet was the applications for this current fiscal year as well as the post-event report. We didn't include the contracts. We will at the upcoming meeting when we put it all together in a red line version for you to provide a recommendation, which we'll take to City Council probably in May or June. I did identify some issues particular you may want to consider to look into the next fiscal year. Evaluate event development funding program consecutive day requirement, which is currently 2. Evaluate ineligible events, including expos, trade shows, concerts, film festivals, select sporting events. Evaluate removal of seasonality funding criteria, which has been around for some time. Evaluate influencers' costs as an eligible MEF funding allocation. And this one's actually in there today, but I want to clarify it. Events that participate or are participating in the MEF or community event funding programs are not eligible to apply for the event development program. We saw a few events that were in those programs jump up. So we want to make that clear that once you're in the event development program, you go down into the other 3. And there you will be and continue on. So those are just some things for consideration. This is a discussion with the commission to staff, and then we'll bring it back at a later date for final recommendation.
Thank you, Steve. Commissioners, comments, questions?
When reviewing this, I think it's important that in the development, there's a hierarchy, right? So once you go through the development stage, you're past that, and it's not something you can just return to. Even if you add an element to your event, I don't think that makes sense in terms of the spirit and the principles of what we put the new event funding together for. So that's the one thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned, because I think that is not the correct way, or it doesn't seem like it's the right thing to do, to go ahead and put someone in a development program. We develop the program, then somehow they jump back down into it by just adding an element. So,
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just had one comment, Steve. I know that we've had this conversation in the past with regards to charitable funding for perhaps a city funding. And I know that it's been in place, and I know Mr. Murphy is no longer with us. And so I wanted to revisit that idea or that thought to see if there may be a way that we can kind of incorporate any of that into the events.
In fact, I heard you correctly. You said charitable piece related to that. We can emphasize that in the worksheets, the applications, in the post-event report to give us follow-up and feedback on that.
Okay.
Contractually, we cannot require that.
Okay.
That's our city attorney said you can't require that.
You can't do that?
But we can emphasize it. I know
Okay.
you've pushed for that over the years, but we can put something in the worksheets to include that.
Yeah, like Scottsdale Cares, or some sort of city-sponsored or city-approved charitable organization. So just wanted to make my voice known on that too. So thank you.
I absolutely support that as well. I'd like it to be focused on, just a Scottsdale-based, just an idea, just to, give people an idea to maybe give back to the city a little bit, I think is a great thing to do. So any other feedback that we can give? So Steve, are you looking for a recommendation today?
No, we just wanted to hear some feedback from you. We have some thoughts, Holly and I, and as well as Rachel, working on the programs. So we'll bring that back to you in a red line version, and you can give us further comments before we take that to City Council.
Perfect. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so next we are moving on to agenda item number 5, event program funding request. Commission discussion and recommendation on the following applicants for event funding. We have matching event funding program for United Fight League, UFL 6. The request is for $30,000. Steve.
Correct. The event date is May 2nd. It is at Westworld, and as you mentioned, Madam Chair, it's a matching event advertising fund request for $30,000. The discussion we're hoping to have here today, as you see, we did not put a recommendation in there because we wanted to hear back from the commission. about this event, whether it enhances Scottsdale status and aligns with the Scottsdale brand image as a combat sport. We do have some the producers here who are wanting to make a public comment regarding the event and maybe give you a little bit more info on it.
Okay, thank you so much. I do have a public comment card. I'd like to invite up Harrison Rogers and anyone else you'd like to bring with you, because you have a team here, to talk to us a little bit more about this event, please. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Yes, I would love to start off by promising we did not make this just for the meeting. We, our Scottsdale team will actually be representing these at our event. We're not that cheesy for just showing up in a cheerleading outfit for you guys. But we did have a slide. I didn't know how this worked. I feel like it would be a little bit more, glamorous than me just reading this to you. But I really wanted to be able to make sure I provided the value that I think is the most important of what you're looking for. And so just real quick, I won't take too much time, but I will read this so that I make sure I hammer every point, because my team would be mad at me if I go off on tangents. So I'm Harrison Rogers. I'm the CEO of and founder of United Fight League, and I'm here today to tell you why the United Fight League and our event, UFL 6 specifically, is on brand for the city of Scottsdale and will bring millions of eyes to the city. About myself, I'm born and raised right here in Maricopa County, and for over 12 years, I've been a business owner and a community builder right here, especially through my Lexington Services Company, which provides education and care for children and adults with special needs. I loved community building and I loved building businesses locally, which is why in 2022, as an MMA enthusiast, I founded the UFL, because the mixed martial arts combat sports world is growing, and I knew that I could bring that same positive community building aspect to the MMA world, which I believe we have made leaps and bounds already. We're the first combat sports promotion to give fighters full health insurance coverage and shares in the company for retirement benefit. If you're familiar with MMA world, that's a big problem that they've had. This will be our 6th UFL event, but our 2nd under our new team versus team, city versus city format. MMA is one of the fastest growing sports in the world and has been for many years, and the sport itself has gone through significant elevations and reputation and professionalism with staple content deals on notable networks such as Fox, ESPN, and now Netflix. UFL 6 will be a premier mixed martial arts event with local Scottsdale fighters competing for Team Scottsdale against the visiting Orange County team, who the Orange County team will be led by former UFC and Pride champion and MMA icon Quentin Rampage Jackson. The Team Scottsdale will be led by Olympic gold medalist and 2-weight champion UFC Henry Triple C Cejudo. Henry is arguably the greatest combat sports athlete of all time. He lives and trains right here in Scottsdale. His body of work and accomplishments are legendary and have brought athletes from all over the world here to Scottsdale to train alongside him, making Scottsdale one of the biggest MMA hotbeds in the world. But the important stuff for Scottsdale, this event will be supported and attended by a group of relevant celebrities and social media influencers who will be sharing content and links to their millions of followers leading up to, during, and after the event. The impressions will easily be in the tens of millions, which we track the analytics very diligently, that we can provide before, during, and after. The broadcast, this event will be live streamed globally on the homepage of Rumble for free. Great partnership with Rumble to make sure we're on their homepage to their 67 million plus active monthly users. And partnered with and available on cable network via Vice TV to their 41 million households across the U.S. We will integrate Scottsdale and the brand of Scottsdale into promotional and marketing materials ahead of, during, and after the event. During the live broadcast, we have the ability to include Scottsdale messaging, marketing materials, and commercials showcasing the highlights and beauty of this city. Whether tourism, whether just the landscapes, maybe Scottsdazzle, we can do amazing things for showcasing this city's amazing culture. The application itself, you might see that the event budget is $400,000 and the projected revenue is $400,000. That's because we are not an event company that lives off of per event profitability. We're building a league. It's not a single event, and Scottsdale will be one of the first franchises in the MMA league built on passion and civic pride. Civic pride is defined as a feeling of belonging to and being proud of the town or city where you live. And I know that Scottsdale can be that city in one of the first UFL franchises. So that is as quickly as I can make this long conversation of what we're super passionate about. But thank you for the time, and I would love to answer any questions, but I don't know if that's the platform I have right now, but thank you for the time.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, also, this is matching events, so we will require a matching dollar for the amount invested, so that's insured. Also, I should have mentioned one of our tourism drivers is sports, but I just wanted you to hear a little bit more about the brand issue and whether you wanted to have a conversation on that regarding your recommendation.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Are questions appropriate since this is public comment? I think we're okay to do that. Okay.
Yes.
So I have a few. I'll start, and I know some others do as well, but can you talk to us a little bit about the impact on maybe hotel nights, people that are coming to stay, how many people you expect to come from? It appears to be California is probably where most people would come from. Just talk to that a little bit, please.
Absolutely. So just a quick talk about the structure of the league. This is, I call the NBA of MMA. And so the visiting Orange County team is their whole team, their friends and family and everybody that comes to support that team, they all have to have a place to stay. And so some of the more posh, bougie, maybe celebrity guests that we always put in the W, that by itself is going to have many rooms because we do have a lot of VIP special guests that will come, but hopefully, just out of budget purposes, we'll find a less expensive hotel room where we will be in the hundreds of nights based on, fight week. We have fighters that have to come for the whole week, and we have the guests and people that want to make the weekend a whole fun experience in Scottsdale. So we put 200 nights as hotel stays, but we far expect to exceed that. And that's just for the hotel question.
Okay, absolutely. And so I believe this is a one evening event, like a few hours, is that correct?
We consider the event the first night, but we do make it an experience. The night before, we have the celebrity weigh-ins. We offer celebrity like poker nights and different fun experiences for guests, for viewage. We stream a lot of these activities, and we have a lot of opportunity to put Scottsdale in all of that stuff. But the event is the one night, but it's a full weekend experience.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it up to my fellow commissioners for questions.
I'd like to know a little bit about how you expect to promote it prior to the event. And you mentioned you were hoping for the hotel and a good rate. Have you guys selected or partnered up with anyone yet?
For hotels?
Yes, sir.
The W is who we mainly have the most relationship with so far, but we haven't solidified who is going to be the best as far as geographic-wise to and from the venue. We have a couple great opportunities that we will solidify pretty soon. It also just kind of depends on, our relationship with Scottsdale, because if we need to go strictly budget, there's some that are right on the outskirts that, we could maybe have less expensive, but obviously we're not looking at just nickel and diming. We want to build a relationship with Scottsdale, and whoever that partner could be, we'll book all the nights there, other than the super bougie athletes that need to stay at the W.
And then a little bit about how you're planning to market this. Can you get into that?
Thank you. So, and I think that's actually specifically what this dollar for dollar was matching, is we plan to exceed in promotional for our event in the hundreds of thousands. But specifically for the 30 is, again, we're exceeding more than what matching would be. Our influencers with this league that have come on board, whether they're celebrity fighters or just celebrities in general that are influencers, they have deliverables that they have to meet for our league. And so we pay them, and we pay them monthly, whether it's for extended lead up for an event, if it's a month, an event with a month with an event in it, or if it's just regular months. They have to do stories, they have to do posts, they have to do links, they have to do, obviously, ramping up to the event, where we track all of that. The influencers, if you have time to see our slides, we name all of our influencers, and it's in the tens and tens of millions of followers collectively. So it's easy to show exactly who we're reaching, and we can get really creative with the tourism, the highlights, and provide that data.
Got a couple questions for you. What is the structure of the tournament? Meaning, where OC is coming here for a home match against Scottsdale, but how does that work throughout the year? When is Scottsdale going to be the host of the next match, and how often does that move from city to city?
That's what's been really exciting for these networks that we're negotiating with, whether ESPN or whoever's coming on board. Because if you're fans of MMA, you would understand that this is very different. Team versus team, what are you talking about? MMA is a fighter versus a fighter. Our last event showed, as we had our scoring system, where if a fighter finishes in the first round, he gets more points. In the second round, he gets more, So it's the first time MMA has been able to have this team collaborative where if they win, they get more points for their team who get a bigger bonus. And so we now are structuring it where there's a regular season. The teams who have the best record at the end of the regular season have playoffs, and then they have a championship. And so next year in 2026, we have our schedule where our first 6 teams and first 6 franchises in the league have their set schedule. So 4 events in Scottsdale, 4 events in Orange County, 4 events in Milwaukee, 4 events in whatever. And that's just until we obviously have 32 teams across the country, where we're going to have more events than we can even care for, just like the NBA. But that's what's really cool about the Civic Pride, is the ones who cares about the Scottsdale and cares about the Orange County, just like you care about the Phoenix Suns or the LA Lakers. That's who you watch and who you become crazy loyal with. And so there's 4 events after this one for Scottsdale, but I can give you those dates after.
And is this pay-per-view? Is this public viewed? How is this covered?
It's all free. So our partner with Rumble, it's basically like a alternative to YouTube.
Yep.
They put us on the front page. They actually they're paying us because they see the eyes that we get, and we did our last couple events with Rumble, and we're the first combat sport that did live events on there, and we just killed the numbers for them, where they're like, please come back, and so they're starting to pay us. But we just solidified a deal with cable, and that's Vice TV, and so both are going to be available for free to a user, which obviously makes marketing way better. Are you guys MMA fans by chance? I just want to.
Well, I mean, free time stuff. No. Just
Well,
but
yeah.
no,
Well,
it
please
is
come.
entertaining.
If you have any MMA or celebrity enjoyment, this will be an event for you guys to enjoy, and I really hope to be able to show you guys what we're doing.
Thank you. I do like the shirts, by the way.
Hey.
Whether you did it on purpose or not,
Hey.
fan.
We actually brought some to leave with everybody, just to little kudos.
I like it. Any more comments, questions, commissioners? Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Harrison, for your time. And we'll go ahead and have our discussion now. So we are being asked for a recommendation on this event, matching event fund program. Total request is $30,000. I would like to open it up to a motion for that amount or a different amount, should the commissioners decide.
I vote to approve the amount of $30,000, but I would recommend that the UFL track their amount of hotel usage and inbound revenues as much as possible, so that when you come up here again in the future, that we have a little bit of a gauge.
I'll second that, and I echo Commissioner's request for that, and yes, I will second that.
Wonderful. All commissioners in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations. All right, moving on to number 6, staff reports, Steve.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Oh, what's up? Oh, good. Okay, just going to review a couple items here since we haven't talked about some of the data coming in over the past few months. Bed tax collections through January is $18.9 million, which represents about 57% of the estimated total bed tax collection for the year of 32.8. That's our working forecast, and it represents about 57%. The next bullet I bring up, just more emphasis on the non-hotel. Total bed tax collections through January for resorts, full service, limited properties is $15 million. Non-hotel is $6 million. Non-hotel is down about 8%. Non-hotel makes up about 40% of the total bed tax collections. So I mentioned that maybe a few months ago that continues to trend downward. Maybe it's a particular customer issue that the overall, non-hotel properties are not trending that well as they were during COVID or coming out of COVID. But just something, I wanted to show. It represents 40%, so we'll continue to monitor that particular collection. Smith Travel Report, the marketing trend, which consists of all the marketing area around Scottsdale. Over the past 12 months, occupancy was flat. Average daily rate was down 3.5%. RevPAR 176.95 was also down 3.4% when compared to last year. The segmented trend report, I took a look at group occupancy in terms of that report over the past 12 months. It's 22.6, down 1.4% over last year. Average daily rate 286.99 was down 3.5%. RevPAR 64.89 was also down when compared to the same period last year. So just want to cover a few of the highlights related to those reports. If you have any questions, we're happy to dig into that a little further.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, commissioners? All right.
Good. The other thing I'll mention probably related to our tables that you get, Holly and myself will probably work on how that's going to be presented going forward into the new fiscal year, maybe making it a little bit more streamlined, easier to get through that report.
Sure, that sounds great. Thank you so much, Steve.
Good.
All right, moving on to commissioners' report. Anything to report, commissioners? Any events attended? Well, I did. I attended the quarterly update in Old Town. If you haven't gone to that, I think it's a very informative networking style event that has some great presenters. So I encourage you to attend that. It's at the Spirit of the West, Western Museum. And then I also had the opportunity to attend the Celebrity Wine and Spirit Festival this last weekend. The weather was phenomenal. And I want to thank whoever's in charge of the grounds there. There was no mud, which I think some people were maybe afraid of. It was perfectly dry. It was absolutely a beautiful, beautiful day. I hope they can maybe grow on that event a little bit more next year. But anyway, it was lovely and a perfect Scottsdale day. There was the game going on, and it was just busy and bustling and fantastic. So anyway, all right, well, moving on. Any further public comment, Steve? I don't have any.
No public comment.
All right, identification of future agenda items. Commissioners, anything you'd like to see coming up?
I would like to have a discussion on how we make it possible to positively promote Scottsdale for everyone when actions do other things. And so at the end of the day, our role up here is to kind of be fiscally responsible in terms of what messaging we're putting out and where we spend our money in terms of attracting people from outside of Scottsdale. And I know some of the recent changes that happened, that action might say something different than we want as a tourist based community. I don't think the USF has just one type of wrestler, right? So I think it's important that if we're going to get rid of something for a good reason, or whatever reason, that we have another way to promote bringing every kind of person here. Because without doing that, you find yourself, and I think we can find ourselves at a reduced dollar amount, which can impact the community in a way more negative manner. And so I think I want to put that on for us to discuss and to say, okay, so we're going to go away from X, but what we're going to do to go ahead and make sure people outside of this community realize we're for everyone. We want everyone's dollars. Dollars, Michael Jordan said it best, everyone buys sneakers. Everyone goes on vacation. We want to make sure that we're one of the options for people. So I don't know how we do that particularly, but I want to see if that's something we can discuss.
Commissioner Montgomery, Commissioners, in the upcoming meetings, we will have opportunities to review the marketing plan, the business plan from Experience Scottsdale as well. Will be coming up here, I believe, in April or May. So there may be some elements that you can look and take a review in terms of that document. So there may be an opportunity there regarding the marketing program and what's happening. Other items we have next month, the budget will be coming up for a review and presentation. And our event funding programs, as I mentioned, will be coming up in the coming months. And we will have a staff evaluation of the final four presentation we received last month in regards to that ask and the potential recommendation going to City Council.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else, commissioners, staff? All right, I will go ahead and call for a motion of adjournment, please.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.